This is Sean from HZad Education. Today we're going to discuss a very interesting topic, something that all of you are familiar with. The rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. This is not something that's a myth anymore. This is something that is common knowledge. It's seen on TV every time when people talk about money. This is seen in research and it can be noticed with people all around you. You know those people around you, and if you're this person who is in the situation, then you ought to listen to the rest of this video. There are people around us who we always see run into problems, right? These people get into a car accident, lose their job, get into debt, and a few months down the road, you see them maybe recovering a little, but sooner or later, they get into the same problems again. These people have a spiral of getting into negative issues and attracting all those issues to them. And it just seems like luck is not with them. Now, we see on the other hand some people who you don't even feel like they're working that hard. You know, you see that this person is relaxing and this person has so many vacations. Everything is going right for this person. He got this big promotion last year, and now you go to his house on his street the next year and you don't even see his house there. He moved to a different house, has new cars, etc. This person just keeps getting everything right, and that's where we say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Is there a secret behind it? Is there some conspiracy that the government has that makes people rich who are richer and poor people poorer? Not really. I'll tell you why. Because I started myself with very humble beginnings, and of course I've made that video before where I detailed how I had a hot dog and I had to make 3 portions of it to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because hot dog was the cheapest meal that I could afford. And now things are very different. So I have seen this firsthand in my life's experience, what happens with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. I've seen this with other people, I've done my research, and here today I'm here to tell you what is the one main thing that makes that difference between these two people and makes that difference in the momentum they're having. The high momentum for the rich people moving forward and the low momentum that keeps the poor people grounded and even buried under the ground when they get poorer. Okay, and that one secret, guys, if you learn this is going to alter your lives if you're on the other negative side of the spectrum. This one secret is the one word that we call thinking. Thinking is the one major difference that you have with rich and poor people. This is no secret, but this is a realization. Because you know, rich people think differently and poor people think differently, but that thinking is what yields different results. Today, I'm not here to talk just from the top of my head, but I have proven examples. Let me give you one about investment. So we say that rich people have a lot of money, so their investments obviously are going to be better, and investments grow over time. Poor persons don't have that luxury. Think about Donald Trump. I think his father provided him about $300 million to start businesses, and start businesses is what he did. He made an empire and multiple empires, and he is now a multi-billionaire, right? So our fathers didn't give us $300 million. We cannot do the same thing that Donald Trump did. Right now, if you look at some of the world's richest people, Elon Musk started, he was sharing a dorm room with students and started with humble beginnings. Steve Jobs started, who's no longer alive, well, he started his company in his basement. Bill Gates, no money, started his own company. If you see Jeff Bezos, there's a great image of him starting Amazon in his office, and he didn't even have money for a poster for Amazon. He had this cardboard-shaped thing drawn where he wrote the word Amazon and put it on the wall himself. And that's how he started. So the richest people in the world right now, they started with very humble beginnings. Mark Zuckerberg, he wasn't poor, but he wasn't super rich. He also was a college student, a university student. He was studying in Harvard, pretty prestigious. However, he didn't have millions of dollars to start, but he is one of the top 4 rich people in the world today. The lesson here is that you don't have to give the excuse like Donald Trump excuse that people make. And the thing is, it's not that you have to start your own company or you have to be like Mark Zuckerberg, but you can have the same patterns of growth like the rich people if you think like them. Let me tell you an example. A rich person would say, I have $1 million, let me invest in real estate. It's a very smart investment. It's going to give him a 10% return year after year, $100,000 in appreciation every year, and that person is going to keep getting richer by $100,000 each year. A poor person says, I don't have $1 million, there's no way I can invest, let me just think of something else. They go to a bank, they invest in a savings account that gives them a 1% interest rate, and they get poorer because inflation is more than 1%. So in Canada, if you're here taking bank interest rates, you're doing a terrible job with your money. And that's the problem with poor people. Poor, I don't want to say the word poor, I can say needy and sugar-coated, but let's call it what it is, right? The way they can change their thinking is by thinking, how can they get the hands on that $1 million property? Sounds pretty absurd? Not really. Let me tell you how. Even if these people are in the mediocre level, they have, let's say, $100,000 or $200,000. They have enough money to make a down payment, to pay the closing costs of the home, and yes, there is the mortgage to take care of. Let's not worry about them paying off the mortgage. Let's get someone, some high net worth individuals, get them to rent the house and pay your mortgage while paying you a rental income. This is how they will increase their monthly income, but the important thing is their appreciation is going to be the same like this rich person who actually paid cash for the $1 million home. Okay, we don't have $200,000. We're extremely poor, okay? We maybe have extra to spend $400 or $500 a month. Let me give you guys a great little insight. There are some great properties, not mostly in Canada, but if you see properties like the ones in the Philippines or in Vietnam, these guys have a condition called pre-selling or pre-booking. So what happens with these properties? And if you're a foreigner, you can buy there too. You can pay monthly. All right, so this property you're gonna buy is a $1 million condo. It's gonna appreciate 10-15%. In those countries, it's actually appreciating way more than in Canada. So you buy that condo, you don't have to pay $1 million now because that project is being built. After 5 years, you have to pay the whole amount. But what you have to do now is just pay $500 a month. That's it, and that property is yours. After 5 years, you gotta figure out how to pay the balance, but here's the catch. You can sell the property in 4 years, and whatever appreciation you have is yours. You didn't even pay the $1 million. You didn't have the ways to do it, but you got the same appreciation that a person who actually paid $1 million in cash had. Therefore, you had achieved the same result like this really rich person. The only difference is you didn't give up. You didn't say, I cannot afford $1 million home. Let me think of something else. You said, let me try to find a way to afford it. So your thinking and frequency is at the same level as the rich person, and that changes your results. Okay, let's talk about example number 2. We don't all want to invest, right? We want to do business. Okay, let's talk about business. Facebook. Think about that name, Facebook. Think about Amazon. Do all these names sound global to you? Maybe they're not saying global Facebook or anything, but they're also not saying Toronto Facebook. They're also not saying San Francisco Amazon. They're not limiting themselves to that specific location. Imagine if I started my dry cleaning company and I call it Saskatchewan Dry Cleaners. I'm only going to be limited to Saskatchewan. It's going to be awkward if I expand to Toronto, and maybe they won't even like it because I'm from Saskatchewan. It's a different place. So when I started with a poor vision. As a person who thinks that I'm never going to be global, Saskatchewan is my main thing, I started with that name. But if you see these guys, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, these names, they don't sound even global. Like they don't have to say global education, etc. But at least they're not limiting themselves. And that's where the thinking of the rich is global, big, huge. And they make big moves because they think like that from the beginning. They will do different advertisements, Google ads all over the world, Facebook ads all over the world. Even when they start, a lot of these companies, when they start, day one, they say we provide service globally because that's what they want to do. And anyone who is named Saskatchewan Dry Cleaners, they don't even have to say anything. People all over Canada know that they cannot get their service unless they're in Saskatchewan. So it just ruins the business. And that's how poor people think. They think limited, they think of limited actions, and they just completely misuse all the opportunities that the world today presents. And that's again the difference in thinking of the rich and poor in business. That's why a lot of businesses succeed, but a lot more fail. Okay, let me give you the third scenario, and this is most common to us because most of us are working. So we're in our offices. We can take two examples of a really rich person working in the office and a really poor person working in the office who's just starting up. The rich person is the CEO. Now, if he is the CEO, he has had a lot of success in his career. He went from a clerk to a manager to a sales team manager to a vice president, president, and then CEO. Now he's on the verge of being the director of the company. This guy has seen so much success that when he walks into the office, he flaunts his style. He has a different way of talking. He has a different way of walking, and the way he smiles oozes confidence. You see this guy, take one look at him and you can tell that he's a big shot. Now imagine this other person, this guy who is going from humble beginnings to this big company. It's his first day starting at minimum wage. What do we think of our first day? We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna embarrass ourselves. People are gonna laugh at us. We're on probation, 90 days. You don't have a good performance, you're fired. We're pretty nervous. So we go in there, we spill a cup of coffee. We are nervous when we talk to people. We stutter. We make mistakes because that's what we think, right? That first day we're supposed to do that. And maybe after 90 days, you won't have that job anymore if you do pull stunts like that. However, if you think, just imagine that you are that rich person. You don't have to be there. You can fake it. Just fake it for your mind's sake. You will walk in with the same body language, the same style, the same essence that you would have if you were highly successful. What happens then is with your confidence, you're able to avoid mistakes. And even if you make them, you embrace them. You're confident about them. You don't shy away. You don't apologize for those mistakes because you think that you're this big shot, even if you're not. But what happens is when you act and talk and express yourself that way, people around you notice. They say, hey, this guy is something special. We've never had someone who's been so confident on day one. Let's give him a promotion. Let's bring him to the office. Let's get him in a meeting and see what he's all about. People get interested. And your promotion rate, the track of your success will beat anyone who's already existing there. Why can I say this? Is because I myself have done it and proven it. I have started in multiple companies, mostly sales. I have been a sales team leader in the whole province of Manitoba. When I was working in this company in sales, I made a record as the youngest guy and the fastest growing guy in my company to achieve that. I've done the same in other places. I've worked in a lot of minimum wage jobs. As I mentioned, I had humble beginnings. In cooking, I was working in Popeye's Chicken in Toronto, and I went from the position of a cook to manager to supervisor very quick. Again, record time there as well. And then in my teaching company, one of the fastest growing companies in Winnipeg, Manitoba right now. So I know a thing or two about record breaking, and the thing I use is thinking that I'm already there. When I started this company, I didn't think this is my first day. I thought I'm already the best person in the world leading a teaching company. And that's what's helped us get there, and we're still getting there. Therefore, guys, the overall essence of this can be summed up with this example of sports. And I'm smiling because there's this golf player, I forgot his name. He's not Tiger Woods. He's someone really successful. But anyway, the context is important. This guy, whenever he makes any shots, he always mostly gets them, and he's ranked as one of the best. That's why it's a shame I forgot his name, but what he says is whenever he makes the shot, he doesn't just hit the ball and hopes for the best to happen because that's what everybody else does. He visualizes the shot. He thinks of the ball going in the hole and him cheering and being successful because he thinks like an abundant person. He thinks like a person who knows success and who can get success, and that's what rich people think like. Now, if you are playing golf for the first time, you make your first shot, imagine what your thinking will be. It'll be the complete opposite, and what your results will be the complete opposite. And that's the main thing that distinguishes rich people from rich people. It makes rich people richer because they keep thinking like that and keep executing actions like that, and the complete opposite for the other side of the spectrum. So guys, this is our video today. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot about the psychology that goes behind thinking and mind power and what it can do to change your life completely, turn it around if it's not in the right position right now. And it's never there, right? We always can get better no matter how good we are. So I hope this video inspires you. It gives you some ideas. If you have any, you can comment, you can subscribe, like, and share if you find value in this video. Once again, this is Sean. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll talk to you guys very soon. Take care.